Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Gabrielle and today we are going to be creating this beautiful fall smoky eye. I love the berry tones and just like all the warm colors. I think it just screams fall. So if you're interested, just keep watching. Alright guys, let's just hop into the tutorial. So first I'm going to start off with a little bit of eye primer. I'm using the Urban Decay primer potion in the shade Eden. We've got that on, and I recently actually just got this palette, the Modern Renaissance by Anastasia. I think it is such an amazing palette. I cannot believe I actually waited this long to get it because it is so beautiful. I think the shades in this palette just scream fall. I think you can make so many different looks out of it. So that's what we're going to be using today. The first shade I'm going to be using with just like a fluffy blending brush, I'm going to be using Golden Ochre, which is just a really light shade. If you're like darker than me, you could probably just use this as an all over lid color, honestly. But since I'm so fair, I can actually use it as a transition shade. And I think the key to just any look, but especially something that's smoky if you're a beginner, is just blend. The next shade I'm going to be taking, a Morphe M330. It's a little bit tapered. If you guys can see, it's just a little bit tapered at the top. I just like this brush to go in with my second darkest shade, which will be Burnt Orange. So I'm going to take a little bit of that on this tapered brush. Tap off any excess, and I'm going to go in kind of over that, honestly. I'm just going to blend this in with that Golden Ochre shade. And you could just tell like the look is already starting to kind of come together just because everything is just seamless, it's blended, and that's the key with any look. So I'm just gonna blend that in. I'm gonna keep dipping into the shade Burnt Orange several times just because I think it's a really great shade as you're taking darker ones to just blend everything out. That looks pretty well blended. Now I'm going to be taking a little bit of a smaller brush. I'm going to be taking a, let's see, a MAC 217. It's just a little bit smaller, slightly tapered. Really great brush to go in with a little bit of a darker color. So the next shade I'm going to be dipping into is Red Ochre, which is this red shade right here. I'm going to be taking a little bit on my brush. The key is just taking a little bit at a time. You can always build the eyeshadow up. You can't necessarily always take it away. So take a little bit of this Red Ochre shade, and I'm going to focus this more in the, not the outer V necessarily, but just the lower crease and the outer third of our eyelids. So I would focus it kind of in that area, but I do kind of bring that excess into my crease like so. It kind of just, again, starts that nice fade. So the next shade I'm going to be using is Love Letter, this really bright kind of magenta. I don't know, there's something about this color. It's so beautiful on the eyes. If you're afraid of color, I feel like this is a kind of a pretty shade if you go with the light hand. So I'm going to be taking that on, actually I'm going to take that on the same brush, the MAC 217. I'm going to dip my brush, you know, I don't have too much on it right now. Tap off any excess, and I'm going to focus that kind of in that same area to kind of brighten up the outer corner and add kind of a pop of color. And you'll see that kind of come together with that Red Ochre shade that we used previously. next, I am going to be taking a Morphe M441. It's fluffy, but for some reason it's pretty skinny. So I like using darker colors in the crease with this color. I just think it kind of blends those out. So I'm gonna be taking just a teeny little bit of this Cypress Umber, the darkest shade in the palette. And I just wanna deepen up that outer V just a little bit. So I'm literally just tapping my brush in and tapping off the excess, because we can always add more, we can't take away. And I'm just literally going to focus this in that very outer area. And you could just see how that really... I'm gonna take a little bit of Love Letter again, just because it kind of got blended away a little bit with that darker shade, which is fine. You could go back in and kind of brighten things up again, bring a little bit more up. And next, we need to put some shimmer on our lids. So I've got a flat shader brush from Urban Decay. This is just one of those double-ended brushes. Anything will work. And I'm also gonna take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, and I'm going to wet my brush. You don't have to use this. You could use eye drops. You could even use water. This just is, I just have it on hand and it wets the brush, and it's gonna make the shimmer that we put on our lid stand out so much more. So I'm just gonna spritz a little bit on my brush. And then I am going to go in with Primavera, this beautiful gold shade. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. So I'm gonna load it up on the brush, tap off any excess, even though it's kind of sticking to the brush. And now I'm gonna go over my inner third of my eyelid, trying not to cover up all that pretty burgundy color that we put in. So, oh my god, this is so pretty. I love this shade. And I'm also lastly gonna take a little bit of that burnt orange color again and just kind of go over everything and make sure it's all kind of fading together, and it fades from, you know, that the gold to the magenta to the deep dark brown. All right, and next I want to highlight my brow bone. One of my absolute favorite brow bone highlights, especially if you're fair like me, is MAC Nylon. It's almost gone. There's just a teeny bit left, but it's just like a beautiful shimmery, has like a yellow undertone, and for some reason it just looks stunning. So if you're even, if you're darker than me, it'll totally just, it'll be such a beautiful brow bone highlight. So I'm gonna dust just a little bit. I am using an angled fluff brush from, I believe, Crown brushes. You look like this. I do my foundation second. Normally, on a normal day, I would just put on my foundation concealer powder and go ahead, but when you're doing a smoky look like this, I just feel like it's necessary. So I'm gonna take a makeup wipe. Anything will do. Baby wipe. I like these Neutrogena wipes to clean up the edges. If you have Scotch tape, that also works wonders. I just don't have any on hand today. And I'm just gonna kind of clean up the corners and with a little bit of primer first before we do our foundation. I've been absolutely loving the Benefit Porefessional. If you have enlarged pores, if you just need your skin to be nice and smooth out, this is just, it works wonders. So, and I only put it in the areas that I need it. So I have larger pores on my nose, around my nose, a little bit on my chin. So just going to apply a little bit to those areas. A little bit on my chin. and just a teeny bit on my forehead, like right there. And for some reason, it just works its magic. It makes you look like your pores are just invisible. All right, and now we can go in with foundation. Today, I'm gonna be going in with the Lancome Teint, and I really like it. It has SPF 15, and it's supposed to last up to 24 hours, though I wouldn't wear my foundation for 24 hours. So, I'm going to take several pumps of that on my hand. And I'm going to take my beauty blender. I like to kind of dot this on my face. I just find that I get the best coverage if I dot it all over my face. Yeah, another reason I really like this foundation, it just looks like skin. And when you're wearing foundation, you don't want to look like you have like a complete mask on. So I'm going to take my dampened beauty blender, and on the larger side, I am going to just tap this in. I feel like the beauty blender just never lets me down. I feel like with any foundation, I can count on it. And I also like this Lancome foundation because it comes in so many different shades. I don't remember the exact number, but you should be able to find your correct shade, or you can always go into Sephora and get a sample first. And do not forget to bring it down your neck, because you don't want that crazy line where your foundation ends. You want it to blend seamlessly. Yeah, I feel like this works well. Especially, it seems like the fall, now that the weather's changing. I would consider myself to have normal to combination skin. I don't get necessarily too oily, but I'm not really that dry either. But I think this foundation for this time of year really And next, I'm going to go in with a little bit of a neutralizer. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. I love this to put under my concealer because I can get really bad bags under my eyes if I'm not sleeping too much. And this just lays a really nice base. It has like a pink tone to it. So this is the Brightener shade. I'm just going to take a little bit under my eyes. And then I don't have to use as much concealer as well. And I'm going to blend that out again with my beauty blender. Now on super light makeup days, I'll just put this on and head out the door. But because we're going for more of a glam look, I'm definitely going to go in with my Holy Grail concealer, Tarte Shape Tape. This will cover up anything. It is my absolute favorite concealer I've ever tried before. And I have already gone through too many tubes. So I'm going to take this, and I'm also in the shade Bare Beige. I'm going to take this under my eyes. And cover up the rest of what that Maybelline concealer didn't cover up. I'm also going to put a little bit on the bridge of my nose, on my chin, just to kind of balance out that concealer. And then I am going to take my Beauty Blender again and just blend that out. I just feel like this concealer sits so well on my skin. I always can count on it. And next we are going to set that foundation concealer so it doesn't go anywhere. And I am going to take my absolute favorite pressed powder, and it's so cheap, the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder. It's like $4 at Walmart. I just love this. I think it keeps my makeup lasting all day. It works with so many different, I mean, all foundations, honestly. And it adds a little bit of extra coverage. So I'm taking it on this kind of tapered powder brush, and I am going to pat that under my eyes lightly. I always like to set the areas I put concealer on with this, just because if I'm having a really long day, I could get a little bit shiny. So I'm just putting that there, and then I'm going to take a bigger powder brush. This is a Real Techniques one. This is great. I mean, e.l.f. makes great ones, and so many. So I'm just going to set the rest of my face with this powder. Yeah, so if you have not tried the Rimmel Stay Matte, you definitely need to. It's awesome. All right. Now that our face is set, I am going to go in and we're gonna bronze up the face. So now we're add a little bit of life back in. So I am going to be taking the very loved looking Anastasia contour kit and the light medium shade. And I am going to be taking this lash shade right under the highlight shade. So the one on the bottom right. I'm gonna take a little bit on this Real Techniques brush. I just think it applies the bronzer really well. I'm gonna take a little bit of that, tap off the excess, and just kind of bronze up my face a little bit, add a little bit of life back into it. I go back into the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm gonna go into that deep brown shade, that Cypress Umber shade, and I have an angled, just like a teeny little angled brush. This is from e.l.f. You can get these like anywhere. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this, and I'm gonna use this as liner today. All right, I'm gonna go back into the Modern Renaissance palette. I'm gonna take a little bit of burnt orange again, and we're gonna run that under our lower lash line. Next, I'm gonna do my brows. It's a little excessive, but I do use 2 brow pencils. You could just use 1, but this is just how I do mine. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Taupe and also the Brow Definer in Taupe. I like using the Brow Wiz to do kind of the tail of my eyebrow, and then for the inner part using the Brow Definer. It's just what works best for me. So I'm just going to follow the natural shape of my brows. Next, we're gonna put a little bit of blush on. So I have a MAC, oh my gosh, 129. The numbers are very worn. So I'm gonna take a MAC 129 in this Tarte blush in the shade Paaaarty. It's just like a neutral pink shade. It looks great with like literally any look. I wear it almost every day. I actually got it from Sephora, and like the birthday, you get like a free birthday gift. And this came in the set. So I'm just gonna take that pop a little bit on my cheekbone. And to kind of brighten up that inner rim, I do this on a daily basis. I like to use a nude or like skin colored like eyeliner. This one is from LA Girl. It is the Ultimate Eye Intense Stay Auto Liner. I love this shade. This looks really good. So I'm just gonna take that and put this on the inner rims. When you have a super smoky eye like this, I mean, I think the black looks really great too. But when you have this, it just, I don't know, I just think it makes the world of a difference. And next we're gonna move on to mascara. So I'm just going to curl my eyelashes. This makes a world of a difference too. I absolutely have to curl my eyelashes or otherwise. And one of my favorite mascaras at the moment is the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir. I was a Too Faced Better Than Sex fan for a really long time, but then I discovered this and this is just awesome. So I'm just going to apply this to my upper lashes. And again, I said I was a Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, but the combination of those two is actually awesome. But I've discovered the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise, which is like an exact dupe for the Better Than Sex mascara. Oh my gosh, this looks awesome. It looks great on its own, but I love it on top of the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir. So I'm going to top that. All right, and the very last step, but not least, is highlight. So I've been using, I love this Real Technique setting brush actually for highlighter. And today I'm going to use the Casey Holmes Spotlight palette in Pearl. This is just absolutely beautiful. The colors, as you can tell, it's very well loved. And it just works for my skin tone. It doesn't accentuate like your pores or anything. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of a mix of the middle shade and the lightest shade and just go to town on my cheekbones. A little bit on my nose. And my Cupid's bow. All right, and now we are going to move on to lips. I'm going to use this LA Girl Ultimate Lip Liner. These are awesome. They're only a couple bucks. And this is in the shade Enduring Mauve. This is just a great everyday kind of nude color you can use with just about anything. So I'm just gonna line my lips with this. And then I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia liquid lipstick in the shade Crush. This is just pretty neutral. You could do a lot of different kind of lip colors with this eye. I just figured this kind of darker nude would be just really pretty. So I'm just gonna apply that. Yeah, I just think this shade's really pretty. All right, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I just put a couple curls in my hair, and I wanted to come back, put some lip gloss on with you guys, and yeah. So I've been loving this Soap and Glory. It's called Pillow Plump. It's kind of like this pink color, but it just kind of comes out as clear, and it's a plumping lip gloss. I just think it's really pretty. So I'm just gonna top this liquid lipstick. A little bit of that. And we are finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look. Please subscribe to my channel. It'll be linked down below. And I'll see you guys soon.